Oh, shit. What's this again? Welcome to the 2300 Pick Six Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do NFL schedule analysis part 5. It would have been done last night, but I apologize, folks. When I got in, I laid down and I went on my recliner, and then all of a sudden I got knocked out and fell asleep, and then I realized how late it was. So that's why the show is doing it right now. So we're going to do this right now. So we're down to the top 10 teams right now. So we don't know how many is going to be done. It could be 4 tonight, or it could be more. That's why it's a mystery with this deck. We're going to find out right now. So I'm going to shuffle the deck right now. Oh, one announcement is due to the fact Full Gear is going to be in Arizona. There will be a show in November, so this will be the first time I don't go to Full Gear in a while because it's in the state of Arizona, which I don't want to go as hot as fuck as it is, even though I wouldn't mind the heat because we're going to be in winter in November, but that's another time. We'll shuffle this deck, and here we go. All righty. First card in this list is Skip. Somebody's getting skipped. So let's see who it is. So it's the NFL card, so that would have been my choice. Draw 4. So this might be ending early, so let's see which 4 it's going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's see what we got. So I'm going to start with the first card. So the first card is a skip card, so that's out. The reverse would have been my choice. That's out. So this one is going to be my choice because we didn't start with a division. So it's not going to be ending early because I thought it was, but we had all 4 cards here. So it's going to be my pick. So I'm going to pick here because we didn't start in a division. So we're going to do the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. So for the Atlanta Falcons right now, quarterback questions right now, here we have. One sec. Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Very good. Enjoy. Big Mountain Dew fan. Okay. Going back on subject. All right. So we're going to do Atlanta Falcons. Right now, don't know who the quarterback is going to be. Michael Penix is out with an injury. They signed Tua Tagovailoa to a 1-year deal. Kirk Cousins is now in with the Raiders. Have a good running back in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Drake London at times cannot stay healthy. So we're going to figure out what happens here. So I'm going to pull up the Falcons schedule right now. So week 1, their schedule begins with they play against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. That will be a loss. I see Pittsburgh getting a win there. They do very good at home. That is going to be a loss to the Pitt. They're going to take there. At home against the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to say a loss there, even though it's in Atlanta. I see Carolina pulling that one off. They're going to be 0-2. Against the Green Bay Packers, that will be a loss. I see the Packers getting a win here on Sunday Night Football. Against the Saints in New Orleans, that's going to be a loss. I see both of them but split in the series. I see both splitting there. Against Baltimore, that will be a loss right there. I don't see them beating Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. Against Chicago, that is a loss. Against the 49ers, that is a loss. In Tampa, that is a loss. I think that could be – no, I'm not going to say split on that one. I'm not going to say no. Against the Bengals, that will be a loss. Against the Chiefs, that is going to be a loss dealing with Patrick Mahomes and company. Against the Vikings in Minnesota, a loss. Against Detroit, they will get killed. Against Cleveland, I say that's a win there. They'll get a win there. They'll get a win. Against the Commanders, that will be a win because I can think but that's in – no, I'll take it back. That's in Washington. That's going to be a loss. If that would have been in Atlanta, I think Washington would have fucked it up somehow. But no. Against Tampa, I'm going to say a win because that could be the fuck you game towards Tampa. Against New Orleans, that one will be a split. That's a win. The end of the season against Carolina is going to be a loss. So the Falcons record I have is 0-1 against the Steelers, 0-2 against Carolina, 0-3 against the Packers, 0-4 against New Orleans, 0-5 against Baltimore, 0-6 against Chicago, 0-7 against the 49ers, 0-8 against Tampa, 0-9 against Cincinnati, 0-10 against the Chiefs, 0-11 against the Vikings, 0-12 against Detroit, 1-12 against Cleveland, 1-13 against Washington, 2-13 against Tampa, 3-13 against the Saints. So I have them going 3-14. So it's going to be a lot of work here with them and Kevin Stefanski. So I got 3-14. Next one is wild card, my choice. All right, so let's see what the second team is going to be. So we did the Falcons. So the second team will be it's going to be my team, the Dallas Cowboys. And before anybody gets on here and starts complaining and say, oh, you're being biased, you're a Cowboys fan, that's your overall opinion, you're going to do – no, I'm going to be unbiased. I have been unbiased with this whole fucking thing with every team. There are 32 teams in the league I don't like, but I have been unbiased and give my honest opinion. The Eagles schedule, I gave my honest opinion. I think they will go 10-7. But this is my own unbiased opinion. I'm not going to say, oh, the Cowboys are going undefeated and winning the Super Bowl. If you want to hear all that, go to Dallas Cowboy Podcast. I don't do that shit. I'm going to give you my very honest opinion. And I'm going to pull up the Cowboys schedule right now. All righty. Cowboys schedule. Week 1, they play against New York on Sunday Night Football. I really got to do the James Harden eye roll on this right now. They literally destroy the Giants on Sunday Night Football and on opening night all the time. And even though, yes, it is John Harbaugh as the coach, that ain't going to change anything because the Giants have no O-line and their secondary is weak. And and right now Malik Nabers is out for 6 weeks, and that O-line is not good. And there's a possibility Jackson Dart could suffer another concussion, and Cam just coming back from an injury. They're 1-0. Well, why did my phone decide to do this? Give me a sec. Okay, here we go. Against the Commanders, week 2, 2-0. They're going to beat Washington. They're going to take that win at home. Week 3 in Brazil against Baltimore. That's a win. I see Dallas 3-0 because I think Baltimore is going to get cocky that game, thinking they have an easy win. That one will be a win in Brazil. Against the Houston Texans in Houston, as much as I would love to see Dallas go 4-0, but I know Dallas would fuck it up somehow. They're going to be 3-1 because that layover is coming back from Brazil, and I know we will lose that game either somewhere close or Dak's going to fuck it up and throw an interception. So I'm going to say 3-1 for the moment. But if they go 4-0 when I stream with my newer equipment, you'll hear this. But if it happens, and I hope to God I might be wrong, I hope to press this on Tuesday or Monday, depending on my schedule. And what I mean by that is sometimes I may have to work weekends at where I work, and it's only till 1 o'clock. So there's the possibility it could be either a Monday or a Tuesday, depending what day I get off, if I have to work the weekend. So that one is going to be a loss. Against Tampa on Thursday night, bounce back win. They get a win there. Against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, I said that Green Bay was going to be very bad, and I see Dallas finally get one over on the Packers in Lambeau, where it will not end in a tie. They get a win in revenge. Against Philadelphia on Monday Night Football, even though I said Philly's going to have a much of a decline with A.J. Brown gone, I say a loss in Philadelphia because they sometimes lose close. But I'm going to say this could be our fuck you game. The Eagles are going to put us in a fuck you game. That's going to be a loss. Against the Arizona Cardinals at home, normally have our struggles against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are going to be so fucking bad this year. This is revenge, and we finally get one on Arizona at home. This is a win by the Cowboys. Against the Colts in Indianapolis, win. Dallas handles Danny Dimes very good, and Danny Dimes is going to have a problem that day. Against the 49ers at home, that is a win. I see Dallas finally get one on the 49ers. And with Earl as a defensive coordinator, they're going to make him look like a dumbass. That is a win. Against the Titans, Donnell Murphy, you're listening to this. I'm sorry, but when I say this, that's a loss you're going to lose to us. That's a loss you're going to lose, and we're going to get a win there. Against Philly on Thanksgiving, split. Dallas gets their revenge and gets the win. Against the Seahawks, that's a loss on Monday Night Football. We never do good in Seattle. And on Monday nights, screwy shit always happens in Seattle on Monday night. And I know a lot of people say, oh, the Dallas 1-0-4 against it. Yeah, but that was a different time and different year. I don't see the same thing happening again. That is a loss we're going to lose. Against the Rams in LA, that's going to be a loss because I think the Rams are going to be very, very hot, and Myles Garrett's going to get the Dak. Against the Jags on Sunday Night Football at home, bounce back win. We off our 2-game losing streak. Against the Giants at home, that is a win. Against the Commanders, final game of the season, that will be a win because that could be the point where Dallas is trying to get the division or move up in their seeding. So that's going to be a win. So the Cowboys record I have as 1-0 against the Giants, 2-0 against the Commanders, 3-0 against the Ravens, 3-1 against the Texans, 4-1 against the Bucks, 5-1 against Green Bay, 5-2 against Philly, 6-2 against Arizona, 7-2 against Indianapolis, 8-2 against the 49ers, 9-2 against the Titans, 10-2 in the rematch against Philly on Thanksgiving, 10-3 against the Seahawks, 10-4 against the Rams, 11-4 against the Jags, 12-4 against the Giants, 13-4 I have them, and I don't know how far they're going to go in the playoffs. Can it be finally they get to a divisional and get past that fucking brick wall, or is it going to be same old shit as usual? We'll wait and see when I cross that bridge when we get to that. Third team on the list is draw 2. So this may be continuing or going on. We're going to find out. 1, 2. The Dolphins. Well, we're going to get into some bad teams right now. So we'll wait till we get to the last card. So this is the third team. So we'll wait and see what occurred. For the Dolphins, they already are blowing it up. 2 already went to the Atlanta Falcons. Jalen Waddle got traded off to the Broncos. Tyreek Hill has been released. I don't know where he's going to go from his injury. And you really have nothing in the receiving core with Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell. Devin Achane is the only thing you have left. So we're going to break down the Dolphins schedule right now. So let's see. If I can find where I have this shit. I got like so much shit. Okay, here we go. Dolphins. All righty. We're going to do the Miami Dolphins schedule right now. So let me pull that up. A second. All righty. The Dolphins schedule. Dang it. All right, here we go. Miami schedule consists of week 1, they play against the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. If this game would have been in Miami, I would have gave Miami a win. But if it's Kirk Cousins or that rookie, at home, I'm going to give the Raiders this one. They're going to be 0-1. Against the 49ers week 2, they'll get smoked. That's 0-2. Against the Chiefs with Mahomes in them, that's a loss. They're going to get smoked there. Against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, that is a loss. Against the Bengals, that is a loss at home. Against the Jets in New York, I'm going to say loss. There's a possibility these two are going to split. Against the Patriots, that's a loss. Against Detroit, they're going to get killed. That's a loss. Against the Colts, that is a loss in Indianapolis. Against the Bills, I don't see them pulling a fuck you game like they did last year. That's a loss. Against the Jets at home, on the fence on this one. I'm going to say loss and maybe win. So I'm going on the fence on that one. Against the Broncos, that's a loss. They're going to get killed. Against Chicago. Chicago at times does not do good in Miami. So I'm going to say on the fence there. That's another win/loss on the fence. Against the Packers, that's a loss. They never do good in the cold. Against the Chargers, that is a loss. Against the Bills, that is a loss. And the final game of the season against the Patriots, that's a loss. So I'm going to break down the Dolphins' record. 0-1 against the Raiders. 0-2 against the 49ers. 0-3 against the 0-3 against the Chiefs. 0-4 against Minnesota. 0-5 against the Bengals. 0-6 against the Jets. 0-7 against the Patriots. 0-8 against Detroit. 0-9 against Indy. 0-10 against Buffalo. 0-11. This one's going to be on the fence. It's either going to be 0-11 or 1-10. 0-12. This could be either 2-12 or 0-13. 0-14 against the Green Bay Packers. 0-15 against the Chargers. 0-16 against the Bills. 0-17. So these are my two possible records I'm going to say. It's either going to be 2-15, or maybe this will be the first team that goes winless in the season. As of right now, I'm going to say winless. I only have one that might be definitive, is that Jets, because I think the Jets would fuck it up. Chicago, depending on how their record is, if they're really, really good, I don't see them do it. But I know Chicago at times has their problems in Miami. And I think maybe Chicago gets over that hump. But as of right now, I'm going to say, to be very honest, I think this is going to be the first winless team. Zach Abbott, if you're listening to this, I know we're friends. We went to college together. But I'm sorry, man. I see your Dolphins not winning any game. But if they pull off 2 victories, I'll apologize on here whenever they get the first win, and I'll have to hit this button. That's if that occurs. But I don't know. And our final one. Draw 2, so this may continue. 1, 2. All right, Tennessee Titans is 1. We're going to do them, so we're back on the others. All righty, for the Titans, they got a new coach. Have Cam Ward at the helm. This is going to be his second full season. New coach in Robert Saleh, which is not a bad. He didn't do good with the Jets. He didn't have that much talent. Titans, same way too, but Robert Saleh was a very good defensive mind, so we'll see how they do. So we're going to do the Titans schedule right now. Let me pull it up. All righty. Tennessee Titans schedule consists of their first game is going to be against the New York Jets at home. I give them a win there. I give them a win. Tennessee's not that bad at home. I'll give them a win there. Tony Pollard should run all over them. Against Philadelphia, week 2. No, I'm not giving you that one. Sorry. Philly's going to wipe the floor to you, even regardless. And I know at times y'all have handled the Eagles, but I'm sorry. No. I'm not going too far with this. No. Against the Giants in New York, unfortunately, that's a loss. I see the Giants getting their first win there or whatever. Against Baltimore, that's a loss. I see Derrick Henry running all over them. Against the Texans, that is a loss. Against the Colts, that is a loss. Against Cleveland, at home, I can see a win there. You get a win there. Against the Bengals, that is a loss. Against the Jags, that is a loss. Against the Cowboys, as I said before, and I'll say again, Donnell or Murphy, you listen to this, sorry, man, that's a loss. And to you too, girl, Donnell. Donnell's a female, by the way, people. I know who she is. It's a female. Jaguars, that's a loss. Against the Commanders, part of me thinks I know Washington would fuck this up somehow, but I think Washington pulls that off. Against Detroit, that is a loss. Against the Colts, that is a loss. Against the Raiders in Las Vegas, I'm going to say loss right now. Against the Steelers, that is a loss. And then against the Texans, the final game at home, that is a loss. So I'm going to break down the Titans' record. They will be 1-0 against the Jets, 1-1 against the Eagles, 1-2 against the Giants, 1-3 against Baltimore, 1-4 against Houston, 1-5 against the Colts, 2-5 against Cleveland, 2-6 against Cincinnati, 2-7 against Jacksonville, 2-8 against Dallas, 2-9 against Jacksonville, 2-10 against Washington, 2-11 against Detroit, 2-12 against Indy, 2-13 against the Raiders, 2-14 against the Steelers. So I have them going 2-15. And our final one. Well, actually, it's my team since I already did my team. So in actuality, we did the Falcons, we did my team, we did the Dolphins and the Titans. So actuality, we are going to call this right here. We're going to skip because we already did my team. So we're going to end this. So before we end and call it a night, if you want to follow us, we're on our Facebook page on the 2300 Pick 6 podcast on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. Give us a follow, hit the link and follow in the description below. And if you have anything else we will be doing possibly 2 more shows or maybe 1 more right now because we're down to the final 6. So how I'm going to do this is this. If it hits 5, if we get to a 15, that will be it. We'll do everything, and that will be the finale, and then we're going to be on hiatus until September. If it's all 4 teams, we're going to do 2 more episodes. So it's going to be wait on depending how it goes by this deck. So we're going to wait and see how this occurs. Also, I'm going to bring this up next week. I don't know if we're going to do a show. Either maybe the weekend or maybe the week, because I don't know, because next Saturday I am going to Fanatics Fest, which is in New York, where I'm going to see Michael Irvin. I'm going to see Joe Hendry, Trish Stratus, Dan Housen, and anybody else I can think of. Maybe the Bell Twins, that might be last minute. I'm going to wait and see what occurs there. It could be either Saturday or it could be the weekend or through the week. I got to see what I do, depending where I'm going to be, the location of why I'm watching Saturday's main event, if I'm at a friend's house or I'm at here. So we'll wait and see what occurs there. But I'm also going to say this for an announcement as well. Normally how I don't do Fridays on podcasting, because of where I work now, I'm at a different branch at a different location, which is open on the weekends. I will open up to Fridays Only if I'm off that Saturday, barring if I'm not going to Tom Fuller's. But if I'm already en route to Tom Fuller's, I will not do a show, and it's not going to happen. But if you hit me up before I go to Tom Fuller's, or anytime before I'm in the car or I've started the car, I can do it. But if not, we're not going to do it, and it would be whatever day. So I'm going to make that rule right now. Because of where I work now, I have to work weekends. It's only till 1 o'clock. Show's still going to stay. So anybody, I just may have to just change the time around when I get off work, depending if I don't go to my mom's or if I'm here. But the show is going to continue on Saturdays. But we're going to wait and see how this all goes in fruition. But all in all, before I bid adieu and call it a night, it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and we'll see you on the field. Good night, everybody.